Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 7 of hashtag What Woke Looks Like, the podcast. I am your host, Yolanda Yoga Spiritualist Hops, and tonight we have a very special guest hailing all the way from the great state, the Sunshine State of Florida, none other than CEO and founder of Onassis Krown LLC, Mr. Lateef Warnick. I am so excited about having this conversation with Lateef this evening. And it's for more reasons than one, but I'll get into that momentarily. First, we have a word from our sponsor, and I'll be right back.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
And I'm back. So as I mentioned before, my special guest tonight is none other than Mr. Lateef Warnick. I want to tell you a few things about Lateef. This guest is phenomenal. This gentleman has been making a difference all over for quite some time. So we're talking 30 plus years. Now, when you see him, you're going to say there's no way in the world that dude could have been out there doing anything for 30 plus years. He's too young. But I'm telling you right now, when I read you this list of accomplishments and accolades that Mr. Warnick has, you're going to say, oh, wow, he must have found the fountain of youth. So let me tell you about Lateef. He has over 30 years of experience as a serial entrepreneur, a naval officer, a nuclear engineer, a student pilot, financial advisor, insurance agent, an educator, real estate investor, realtor, top sales professional, a trainer and manager, investment supervision, principal, hip hop artist, songwriter, producer, independent record label owner. I mean, this guy just does not stop. A web designer, e-commerce expert, fashion designer. He has his own clothing brand. He's an online marketer, a content creator, certified life coach, marriage counselor. Oh my God, spiritual author. I mean, what doesn't Lateef do? He's also a business consultant. He's also a yogi. I don't know where he finds the time to do all of these things, but somehow he has. But to top all of that off, because those are beautiful accomplishments, but let me tell you what's even better. He's a husband, okay? He's a husband. He's a father. And now he's a grandfather. So he has one of the greatest titles of all times. Please join me in welcoming to the stage none other than the man who does it all, Mr. Lateef Warnick. And welcome in.
Yolanda. Thanks for having me. Thank you for that introduction. I think there are a lot of people out there that need to level their game up with that introduction you just gave. I'm like, wow, really?
I mean,
this guy.
Yeah, because, and you know what? I think what's most refreshing about that for me is the fact that while my resume is not quite this extensive, it is rather extensive. And sometimes I wonder to myself, am I okay? But I think that if we embark upon this journey, this thing we call life, and if we don't burn it all down to the filter, then what was it all for?
Absolutely.
Like if you have the gifts, if you have the
So
talent.
first, yeah. So first, let me say thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being
I
here.
again appreciate that very warm introduction there. I did take some time to kind of look over your platform, what work looks like. I see a lot of the work you've been doing, and it actually very much aligns and mirrors the stuff that I do, as far as, trying to
Yes.
improve people's lives, trying to show people how to transform themselves. So
Yeah.
thank you for what you're doing, and kudos to
Mhm.
you, and wish you continued success with all the work you're doing. But again, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, and look forward to our conversation.
Yes. Yes. So tell me a little bit about Onassis Krown. This is a unique name. I am curious
Yes.
to know how you stumbled upon it, or was it something given to you in a vision? Tell us how Onassis Crown was born.
Great question. So NASA's crown, honestly, is an evolution. Um, as you live life, certain little triggers happen over the course of your life, and they may not be very significant at the time. They kind of sit in the back of your mind. So when I was a kid, I remember the name Aristotle Onassis. He ended up marrying Jackie Kennedy, the widow of JFK, years
Hmm.
after, President JFK was assassinated. But what stuck to me, I guess, was his moniker at the time was richest man in the world. So I just kind of
Hmm.
put that in the back of the mind, something you remember from your childhood.
Right.
Uh, Fast forward many, many years later, while in college, I pledged a fraternity, and one of the big brothers' uh, line name was Black Caesar, and I thought that was just one of the coolest names. I didn't know at the time it was dope. Okay. But I wanted to sound a name like that. So,
Yeah.
I can't say I was rich, but I was doing pretty good for a college student. And
Yeah.
so the name Black Onassis kind of came out of that whole pledge process. So that was a line name. Again, fast forward many years later, one of my favorite movies was the Thomas Crown Affair. And the original was done by Steve McQueen way back, I believe, in the 1960s or so.
Hmm. Yeah.
It was made probably late 90s, early 2000s by Pierce Brosnan, who played James Bond as well. But Thomas Crown Affair was one of my favorite movies. Very swag guy, very fashionable, an adventure seeker. And so the name Onassis Crown really was a combination of all these things kind of brought together. So the name Onassis really represented wealth, luxury, just a certain lifestyle. And then the
Yes.
crown, of course, represents royalty. I decided to change spelling of crown from with the C to a K, and the K kind of just representing again knowledge, king, this nature. Coming from a hip hop background, we tend to remix things quite a bit.
Yes.
So I kind of remixed the names, combined some things, but I wanted to be something inspirational so that no matter where you come from, the sky's the limit, so to speak. So that's where Onassis crown come from. Just representing wealth, luxury, and royalty, really.
Wow. I love that concept. Absolutely love it. Um, and if you don't mind, just would you mind go ahead just for a second, just go ahead and shout out that fraternity if you don't mind.
You know what it is. It's who you with. I used.
I said, listen at him trying to be all modest.
Oh, good.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm subtle with it. Put it in the background. Those no.
No, all is well. All is well. We all love our D9 family, and always want to give credit where credit is due, because I do believe that being a part of these organizations is really a stepping stone for us all. It's a great way to build a foundation, for community and things of that nature. So it's just
Absolutely.
so important, I think, in the current climate that we're in, that we shine a positive light. And I
Absolutely,
think you know what
absolutely.
I mean
And
by
I'm
that.
like your adult sister, and my school, we were all very. I know some entrepreneurs from the D9, so I love networking and connecting
Yeah,
people, network. Just plug people in. So anytime we can have the
yeah,
opportunity to do that, we certainly should make the most of it.
definitely should make the most of it. I want to go ahead and just let you guys in on a little bit of a secret. Lateef is new to me, but not to my family. He and my husband attended college together back in the day. So he was very quick to say, you got to get this guy on the show. He is doing some amazing things. I've known him forever, and his story just keeps getting better and better. So again, thank you for coming in. Thank you to my better half for even introducing us to each other, because you just never know who you're going to encounter on this journey and how impactful these encounters can be. So we're just so excited to have you here with us tonight. Now tell me a little bit about, because I was doing some snooping around, okay, if you will. I was doing just a little bit of snooping, no cause for alarm. But I thought to myself, let me see what Mr. Warnick is really all about. And in doing so, uh, I came up with a few things that I would love to share, with our audience, because I believe that it is very, very important for us to highlight some of these key points. Loving, of course, this logo here, Onassis Krown. But you talk about the building of kings and queens. Tell me about that movement and how you came to this impasse where you felt as if there was a need to really, really focus on the building of kings and queens. I think I read where you said something to the effect of, everyone has a crown, but not everyone knows how to build it. And I may be paraphrasing that somewhat, but I do believe that was the gist of your message.
Absolutely. So, the building of kings and queens is rooted in a number of different things. Obviously, in that logo you have up there, you see the Egyptian pharaoh in there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, we've been kings and queens for a very long time, going back to Africa, going back to ancient Egypt. Of course, the original name of Egypt was Kemet. And when you do your research and homework, you find out that the word Kemet actually means black land. Um, so the building of kings and queens, again, being here in America, we have a unique experience with slavery, just with discrimination, mass incarceration, just the list goes on and on. Um, Me being from the South Bronx, I was exposed to hip hop very early on, really from childhood, and I know what that music was rooted in. I was into the breakdancing, the graffiti, so just really the whole cultural aspects of it. But to see the evolution of it and some of the messaging in it, some things are okay for entertainment, like movies. I'm not going to point finger and blame people for their experience, but the industry is obviously in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
And when the check is dangled in front of you, there are people willing to do whatever to collect that check. And so for me, it's cool, but I feel like we get to have more things to offset some of the messaging that becomes very popular out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as life happens, like you say, having children, having grandchildren, you start thinking about your own legacy and what am I going to be remembered for? And I don't think any one of us is big enough to change the world, but I feel like we all can do something to contribute towards a better world. So for
Yes.
me, again, spiritually speaking, you know, scripture says obey in the image and likeness of Almighty God, Creator. So
Yes.
if that is true, then we should characterize ourselves as the Father, Spirit above does or within us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I'm trying to do. From, whether it's music, whether it's the books, whether it's fashion, I try to put messaging of transformation for people to aspire and be the best version of themselves. That's really what it's about. And everything I do, I try to marry those things together. I know you rattled off my resume, and when I reflect on a lot of those things, that's something I always tried to bring to the table, whether it was, real estate, whether it was financial advising, just trying to holistically encourage people to be, better versions of themselves.
Of course, of course, of course. Which brings me to my next point. Um, this book you wrote, I definitely want to highlight that. Wear your crown. I tell you what, I was so excited. When I saw this, I said to myself, oh, wow, you came up with these 7 jewels for building kings and queens. These are jewels I personally feel that any of us can apply at any point in our lives. But also looking at the fact that this is something great to start with, the young, start with the youth,
Absolutely.
starting to teach them about all of these things. Just tell us a little bit about that. Of course, as adults, we need to make sure that we are fine tuning these things, but we need to get our young people in the mindset of understanding how important these 7 jewels are for them building their crowns.
Absolutely. And like you said, you mentioned the kids, I'm a father of 4. I got 2
Yes.
girls, 2 boys. My 2 also are, young adults. My 2 youngest are, still 12 and 13. But just again, having gone through life, I was always a pretty good student, a fairly good test taker. But a lot of things just on how to be successful in life, I kind of had to learn from trial and error. Of course, we're all not born on the same uh, playing field in life. But one thing I've discovered is, regardless of what your childhood was like, you don't really get a pity. You know, um, people who love you most might care a little bit, but the world at large really does not care. School systems are really created to kind of teach you how to be a good worker, be a good employee,
Mm-hmm.
um, basic skills, and not really there to truly teach you how to be successful. Now that's me growing up. I hope the education system's a little bit better, but I did teach 7th grade math and science for a year, and it was really all
Okay.
about scores and that sort of thing. And I did some training in the Navy. I never really taught 7th graders. So I
Ah,
think the principal that hired me brought me on because she saw the military background. I think she wanted me to kind of run class like boot camp. And so I think that's why she hired me. Long story short, I was fairly young at the time, maybe 27 or so. I feel like I could still relate to these young people musically. And so I would do different things. Like every morning, I would come right on the board. Hey, today's a good day to learn math. For whatever reason, New Edition dropped a new song, or the weather was beautiful, or just reasons. But what I found out was, as time went on, if I forgot to put something on the board, the kids would kind of, hey, Mr. Warnick, you didn't put a reason to learn math today. And so I started seeing the value of repetition and trying to make
oh,
things
yes.
fun. I would
Yes.
create games. I would split the team, the class into 2, put the same math problem on the board, have the kids race to the chalkboard, solve it. It got very loud. It got very boisterous and um, competitive. Just gave them a little bit of freedom. You want to chew gum in my class? Go ahead. Just don't be popping bubbles, and I can't give you permission to chew, gum in someone else's class.
Of
So
course.
just
Of
try to
course.
treat them like maturing young people. Long story short, the
Right.
principal didn't really like my approach. Um, to
Okay.
me, it felt right, but I thought maybe she knows something I don't really know. She kept warning me, oh, Mr. Warren, at the end of grade test and stuff. So I wasn't 100% certain, but I said, you know what? I'm going to do what feels right. Long story short, my class at the end of the year ended up having the highest growth in their end of grade test scores compared to all of their peers.
But of
Um,
course.
yeah, but based on that experience, I'm like, I don't really make that much money. I got paid once a month. By the time I got my check, Uncle Sam ate it up in taxes, and then also not have the support of your administration. I'm like, why would I continue doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I moved on. I went back to New York, landed in the investment world. But again, from that experience, from being a financial advisor, I just saw these gaps, these voids of
Mm-hmm.
people in general, but especially our people who did not really have these skill sets. So again, I had to learn a lot of these things the hard way, but I said, let me kind of codify it, put into some sort of format to help others. And of course, again, I was able to marry it with my brand. So for me, financial wellness is very important. Understanding how to
Yes.
save, how to budget, how to invest. Um, I put asset ownership as a separate jewel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People don't always see the value of owning something, whether it's a home, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
business, whether it's art, whether it's things that appreciate. You need to be able to go to sleep at night and ideally make money in your sleep. For me, having done music, I owned all my music, all my masters. So, you know, I came from there where we still were selling CDs out the back of our trunks. I put it on the shelf for a long time, but as technology got better and the streaming came in, I realized, oh, I can put my music on these streaming platforms now
Of course.
and start
Yeah,
making
for
money
sure.
in perpetuity.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, books. Once you've created something that you can own, that's something you can basically sell forever and continue to make income from. So asset ownership is important. Strategic education. You rattled off my resume. For me, and this is something I press again upon my kids, is don't look at school like A's and B's. So many times I have conversations with my kids and like, oh, I got a B, that's good. I said, don't look at
Yeah,
it as grade. Look at it as learning. And even when you
yeah.
graduate high school, whether you go to college or not, you should always have a mindset of learning. To
Yes,
me, to the day you die, you should always be learning new
yes,
skills, learning, different things. So
definitely.
strategic education is how can I do that without necessarily always having to be in someone's college or someone's university. Um, you know, Nowadays you have so much access to the World Wide Web. When I was growing up, we had encyclopedias, you know. But yeah, so healthy living,
When
family,
we were
spiritual
growing up,
growth,
right?
paying for it. Yeah, so once you've acquired these skill sets, for the end of the day, we should all pay it forward to the next generation, pay it forward to our
Yes,
children, pay it forward to our peers, siblings, even our parents sometimes. Um, but yes, those are the seven jewels. What I never wanted to be, and for me, you see people that accumulate a lot of wealth. We're a lot more than just money. And even
yes,
when you've got to a certain level of status of financial security, there's just a lot more to life than your bank account. So
definitely.
without naming any names, you see people that reach the mountaintop of wealth. And for me, it just seemed like they're bad people. you know, I tell
Mm,
my kids all the time,
mm.
if you become a billionaire, but you're a bad person of poor character,
Yes,
and I
yes.
cannot say I'll be proud of you. I'd
Say
rather you
that.
be a janitor or whatever,
Definitely.
laborious job you have to do. But if you have good
Hmm.
character, then I've achieved my goal of trying to, raise you the right way. So that's what the seven jewels are really about, just being balanced in our lives.
I love that. I love that. Um, and again, I think what stuck out to me was the fact that these are jewels that can be applicable throughout every part of your life, from childhood into adulthood and even into the fall and winter of our lives. If you were to look at our lives as being seasonal, because we should all be continuing to pay it forward. Because there are a generation of people coming behind us that rely on us to do our due diligence and to leave them with somewhat of a blueprint. for how to navigate, life as it were. And it goes beyond just your flesh and blood.
Sure.
Would you agree?
Goes beyond your flesh and blood, goes beyond even, we get caught up in the race a lot. I think race is important because we as a human race say it's important.
Yes.
Truth be told, I feel like it's not really a real thing. If you look at science, it says genetically speaking, every human being is 99.5% identical.
Mhm. Yes,
Everything we see in complexion to hair texture to eye colors is based on the 0.5% variation. And yet we seem to
definitely.
put so much emphasis on that. We're all facing similar challenges in life. And at the end of the day, I wanted my messages to be kind of universal. So hopefully it resonates with everyone that is going through adversity, basically.
Definitely, definitely. I know that just from, again, looking through your website, and I, wish I'd had more time to really dig deeper into many of your messages because there are so many. But this one was one I felt that really, really stuck out to me, and I felt as if it embodied, at its core what you're about. Um, and I know that you've got other books that you've written as well. Would you say that this is the one that is kind of like your signature?
It is. It's actually the third book I wrote, so it's the newest of them all. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think with anything you do in life, you kind of get better the more you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my first book, Know Thyself, originally was called Journey of the Soul. That's certainly a much more spiritual, heavy book. I wrote that one. I'll share this quick little story with you. Um, when I got out of the Navy, I moved back to New York, went and looked for a temp job, landed a job. I won't mention the name of these companies, but they want the merger. I had some decent Excel skills, so they hired me.
Mm-hmm.
The VP took a strong liking to me. I made her life a lot easier. Um, and she said, wait for the dust to settle, because lots of people were getting laid off, literally like 3,000 people have been with the company 10, 15, 20 years. I'm watching people walk out the door, tears in their eyes. Um, so part of that triggered me to say, I don't think I want to be in those shoes, because they weren't being let go for anything they did wrong. It's just business needs. They pivoted.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you see all this hustle in me is part of that fear of not having to be at the mercy of some corporation that may decide one day we don't need you anymore for no fault of your own. But anyways, this VP did take a light. She set me up for an interview at the World Trade Center.
Mm-hmm.
So went did the interview, went well. This is December of 2000, roughly.
Okay.
Um, that teaching I mentioned of seventh grade was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And when
Ah.
I left, I gave my students my information. I said, hey, I'm going back to New York. Reach out to me. You can do so. So right around that Christmas, I get a letter from one of my female students. To my surprise, like, oh, Mr. Warnick, we miss you. And, then the letter goes into, I wish he was my dad and this kind of stuff like that. So it really kind of touched me. Um, my ex, my daughter were living in Orlando at the time. Her and I met in Atlanta. But I'm in New York. I do this interview. Some of the factors going on, cost of living in New York was really expensive. Um, the car I was driving and being pulled over by police officers, just the quality of life. I'm like, this isn't worth staying here anymore. I went to the
Mm.
VP. This is around January, February of 2001. So, I appreciate everything you've been doing for me. Um, but I'm going to relocate to Atlanta. And so my ex, agreed she would relocate as well. So I said, I'll go
Okay.
first to kind of get situated so we're not both going to the city to try and get reestablished. I asked the
Right.
VP, hey, positions in Atlanta, I might put, apply for. And she's like, no, we don't really have anything down there, but I respect what you're doing for your family. So, that was the end of that. So I went on and said, okay, I'm leaving. Went down to Atlanta around January, February, like I said, of 2001. And 7 months later, the World Trade Center got hit.
Okay.
So I reflect and say, man, I could have been in that building had I stayed in New York. and taking this position and whatnot. So what that kind of taught me was, one, money's great. It's not everything. Sometimes you got to follow your heart, do the right things, and you will be provided for.
Definitely.
So that was that one event. But what came in the aftermath of the whole 9/11 thing was just this real division. I started losing friends in the military, um, people that I was fairly close to. A lot of people started becoming very opinionated and voicing their opinions. Um, we know that flew the planes into the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
We know what their religious faith was. But for me, I'm like, you can't group an entire group of people or an entire faith off of what a handful of people decided to do.
Mm.
The way we did a lot of reading, a lot of study. So I've read most of the world's major faiths, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism. And for me, I found a common thread in most of these faiths and teachings.
Yeah.
So that book was really just my thoughts and ideas to try to get others to see we got a lot more in common than we do in difference.
Yes.
And so I created my own book publishing imprint, which was One Soul, and One Soul was an acronym for One Source of Universal Love.
Mm-hmm.
It's really what the first book, Know Thyself, came from. Just really encouraging people to, one, see the unity of us all and understand that, you can call God what you want. Allah, Jehovah, whatever you want. I feel like one creator. Man tries to assign names to this creator. He's
Always.
not limited by our words or our beliefs. He transcends all of those things.
All of
And,
them.
Jesus said, not a low here nor low there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within.
It is.
That's ultimately the message in my spiritual teachings in that particular book, Know Thyself.
I love that. I love every bit of that. And that is why you are definitely the embodiment of what woke looks like. And we appreciate you for carrying your message thus far. And I'm excited about how much further it will go from this point forward. We're going to take a quick break. This conversation is not over by a long shot, but I do have to pause for a second. And I'm going to, during this time, I'm going to play a quick clip, if it's okay with Lateef, about Onassis Krown. Is that all right with you, brother?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it then.
Hey yo, stop scrolling, check this out, you're not beholden. A lifestyle brand that'll get your money folded. Onassis Krown, check the streets, it will be found. From LA to the A, up to the boogie down. Wanna rap, drop a fact, who else can give you that? Not just rules, selling jewels to help you get your stacks. The streetwear,
Your idea of spreading the word.
We good in the hood and still got the greed, yeah. You know it's the real thing whenever you see the wings. But more than that, yeah, we tryna build kings and queens. Game heavy day in the gear to help you straight. And if you like the finer things in life, it's okay. It's the boss signing off till I'm around in your town. Salute, and oh yeah, by the way, wear your crown.
Arguing with strangers on social media about who's the most righteous? Congratulations, you're not spiritual, you might be religious. Here are 3 ways to tell the difference. Number 1, being religious is having a checklist of rules on how to change the world. Spirituality is changing yourself while having compassion for others. Number 2, religion says, don't question the Lord. Spirituality says, ask a way until your very atoms understand it. Number 3, being religious is claiming seats in heaven like it's some VIP nightclub. Spirituality realizes heaven lies in how you live now, not just a cover charge at the door. So don't just memorize scripture like it's karaoke night, live them. Because if your soul isn't growing, then you're not holy, you're just stuck in Sunday school detention. And oh yeah, by the way, wear your crown.
And we're back.
I'm going to clap it up for that.
I told you I was doing some snooping. So
See those in a little while, but flashbacks.
Yeah. So you were probably looking, saying, you know what, that was some of my best work. Yes. I thought that clip was very timely, based on the last words that you spoke just before we went out on the break, when you talked about, your studies of religion, in general. And I too consider myself a student of religion. And of course, this comes on the heels of 30 years as a minister of music in the Baptist church. And, just coming from that strict Bible belt upbringing. I do not use the word belt loosely. The belt, it is literal.
This message.
Listen, brother, it's literal and figurative. Okay. But I do not take it lightly. And I in the words of Shirley Caesar, I wouldn't take nothing from a journey. Okay. All these roads led me to where I am today. But I too began to seek for something a little more, or maybe if not more, but a little deeper, a little more depth. Because I said, these people want to put God in a box.
Yeah.
And how can we, in all good conscience, put an entity that is so vast, so omnipotent, so omnipresent in this little box? And I wanted to know how this happened. And I also wanted to know the truth. And so I had to embark upon a journey of my own, much like yourself. It is nothing that anyone can, I don't feel it's anything anyone can teach you. But I do believe that your own God box gets unlocked. And when that happens, you just want more. You just want a more close personal relationship. You really want to understand who God is. And you can only do that by seeking.
Absolutely.
And so would you, I'm just curious to know, what was your upbringing like? Who
Great
did
question.
they say God was?
So my upbringing, it's just me and a brother, older brother. I think he's 3 to 4 years older than me.
Okay.
Tell stories about his age sometimes. I've got to where I forgot who it is. But nonetheless, my parents married young, me young. So my father had me at 19. My father's one of 5. My mother is one of 12. My grandparents on my mother's side, like the Miami area, migrated to New York.
Okay.
My father was born and raised in New York. So my mother was born in Miami, but she was raised in New York.
Okay.
But in New York, you tend to grow up pretty fast. So you jump on trains, subways, and buses and cabs, and you're over the city. Nonetheless, this story, I'm just repeating the story she's told me, which is she found I believe a Catholic church near her home that as a little girl she started going to. And after repeated visits, one day her father said, her name is Fran. He called her Franny. Like, Franny, go to church on Sunday, wake me up, I'll go with you.
Right.
So he did as asked. Apparently he liked it. And so then he made up his mind that, I'm going to church. So everybody's going to go to church. So now the whole family got to go.
Okay.
They ain't got no say so anymore. So anyway, she was the first one to kind of open that door, according to
Mhm.
her. But then also she became the first one kind of dissatisfied with it. And she said what kind of struck her the wrong way was, referring to a preacher or minister as father. In her opinion, there's only one father, which is, in heaven.
Okay.
So that kind of turned her away. Um, from there, she kind of on her own started getting to more, just reading of books and New Age teaching. So I remember as a kid, one of her books, four of her favorite books was The Queer Gospel of Jesus Christ, which supposedly talked about some of the missing years of Jesus, because in the Bible he basically disappears at 13 or so and doesn't reappear to like 30. So like, what was he doing all that time? She had another book called Three Magic Words, which talked a lot about just the power of your thoughts, kind of law of attraction stuff. So when she had me, I guess I was already in her womb, and this is kind of how I came to the world. So as we went through childhood, they never really tried to force us to believe anything particular. Um, encourage reading, encourage conversation, encourage questions. So that
Yes.
was kind of just my upbringing.
Yeah.
I had lots of family members, come from a big extended family. So I've been to all types of churches, whether it's Baptist, Pentecostal, Catholic,
Yeah.
Muslim, name Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah Witness, been to them all. When I could, around the age of 12 or so, my brother brought home a book called Man's Eternal Quest, written by basically a Swami named Paramahansa Yogananda, big name in yoga and Eastern teachings, came to America. But he wrote a book called Man's Eternal Quest. It touched on lots of real life challenges. And it was just kind of, I believe what I'm doing, all the world's major faiths. So he would quote from this book, from that book. And he just kind of presented it as this universal message. So that's stuck with me. So really over the years, it just progressed, reading more different books from different authors, different teachings, different faiths. And so I guess what I would call myself would be a truth seeker. I'm seeking truth. Many
Mm.
cultures have their version of truth. Many books
Mm-hmm.
have their version of truth. But like you
Right.
said, I don't feel an infinite God can be really captured in a book. Like all the world's religions have a
No.
glimpse of truth, but no
No.
one has a monopoly on truth. you know.
Right. Exactly.
Um,
Yes.
and over the years, I used to get into discussions, debates, even some heated debates and arguments with people. And people are very set in their beliefs and ways. And I came to realize, why bother? Someone's lived 20, 30, 40 years of life.
Mm-hmm.
One conversation is probably not going to change
Right.
no matter how strong your argument may be. And this would really, I guess, became the cherry on top for me. When I was in New York, a good buddy of mine from middle school, I was reading a book, I believe, called Conversation with God at the time. He saw me reading. He's like,
Mm.
man, it looks like an interesting book. Can I read that? So I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it to him. 2 or 3 weeks later, I was over his place, over there, and I was like, man, what you think about the book? So he's like, oh, yeah, it's good like that. And so while he's saying that, like, he ain't read the book. And so after he kind of got up and went away to do something, she kind of leaned over to me like, but I'm reading it. And she doesn't really read like that. So for
Okay.
me, the takeaway from that was, we may think we're doing something, but ultimately God is in control, and what's meant to get
Yes.
to who's meant to get to, it's going to get to them. So I was like, you
Definitely.
know what? That book wasn't really meant for him. It was meant for her. She had read it.
Yeah.
Whatever she took from it, kudos to her. She got something from it.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. That kind of reminds me of another clip that I pulled. Uh, I know you are like, you know what?
Hey,
I should have been more precautious about what I allow her to have access to, because she is pulling out
run with
everything.
it. I'm
But that conversation just kind of slightly reminds me of this particular clip that I want to share right now, and I'm going to pull that up here.
recently had an exchange with an individual online via social media, and he contacted me to let me know that he was tired of everyone referring to people as kings and queens. He said that not everyone is a king or a queen. Some people are pawns, bishops, knights, and rooks, I guess. What is really sad, though, is that he didn't seem to have a problem with everyone being referred to as the N-word. I was shocked that this person thought the N-word applies to everyone, but somehow he was offended by calling everyone king or queen. He said the N-word just wasn't going to go away. We should stop trying. So here's where I stand on this. I believe everyone is and should think of themselves as a king or a queen. I understand that out in the world, even some kings and queens have to sometimes play the role of a pawn, knight, bishop, or rook. But it's not always about where you currently are in life, but rather where you're trying to go. At a minimum, you should be a king or a queen in your own home. If you act and behave like a pawn in your own home, then your kids won't even respect you. I personally don't care if you mop floors at McDonald's. Then you should do it like Prince Hakeem and Coming to America. This goes for everything in life. It all starts with your ability to believe that you can be anything. If you can't see yourself as healthy, wealthy, intelligent, attractive, then who else is going to see it and believe it? Start with believing, start with looking in the mirror, at least believe in the dream that you could be a king or queen. The more and more you act and carry yourself as such, then it's...
And you might be saying, now, what does that have to do with what we just talked about? Well, my mind works a little differently, so just humor me, if you will.
Absolutely.
I feel as if it's the same. It's the same when it comes down to the creator, God, Allah, Olodumare, whichever name you would like to give, source. It depends on where you are on your journey as to how you will access that energy. Whether you're a king, queen, pawn, bishop, knight, I don't play chess. I've been saying I was going to get into it and I was going to learn the game, but to that point, or to your point, everyone's journey looks different. And so I feel as if God is going to look different for everybody because, everybody's journey is different. Yes. You're on a different path from the one I'm on. Yes, I had parents, God rest both of them, but they were my parents. They had a job. They had one job. That was to get me here, right? And to get me to a certain point. And then I had to take the reins from there. And so with that being said, how do you in all that you do with the coaching, because I was reading, you've done the marriage counseling. Whew, now Lateef, I tried that for a little while. I realized that wasn't my gift, sir. Okay. Not at that time. And again, sometimes we come to different points in our journey. So it may not have been my bag in 2010, but in 2030, I may be at a point where I want to work with couples again. You got to allow some flexibility in your life, right? But how do you get people to a point where they understand how to build the crown, whether they are in the confines of a marriage or just attempting to, grow their businesses? Because I know you've done some business consulting. How do you get them to that point where they understand, how important it is for them to build and not just to be complacent with where they are?
Absolutely. Great question. Very well thought out. So, like you said, we're all at different stages. We all may have similar bodies and two hands and two feet, but I believe ultimately we are spiritual beings as they having human experiences.
Yes.
So
yes.
Although we may have physical attributes that are the same, many of us could be as different as night and day.
Yes.
If you look at life, I look at life as a journey. So some of us maybe in kindergarten, us maybe on high school level, spiritually speaking. Some of us may be working on our PhDs, spiritually speaking. Yes, we are all equal in God's eyes, and as souls made in His likeness and image. But journey perspective, this of course is relative based on who we are as individuals and our egos. Could be light years apart. So I say that to say, someone like a Jesus, I'm humble enough to say I'm not on the level of a Jesus or a Buddha or any of these enlightened figures. Jesus also said, do not throw pearls before swine; they will
Yes.
trample on
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Also,
Yes.
his disciples asked him, why do you speak in parables? And basically, he gave to the masses, and then he taught some deeper understandings to those who he felt was prepared and ready to receive. He who has ears to hear the message. So again, I evolved because once upon a time I would enjoy these intellectual debates with people. And one day in reading one of my many books, and one day I actually laid out all the books I read for my children. It really wasn't in all of them because many I had given away over the years, but it was a massive amount. But one day I read something in a book which said you can basically read books under the sun, but at some point in time you really have to put the books down. You have to start to look within. So for me, I do meditation, I try to practice yoga, I try to dedicate a piece of my day to those activities. But what I also learned is that, so I'll use this example. My oldest son is 19. He's in Atlanta. I say he's kind of finding himself, going to school and working and these other things. He's a self-proclaimed democratic socialist. Comes from a good heart. He wants to change the world. He's into technology, and how technology can help to feed everyone and house everyone. Very noble idea, sir.
Yes.
Not being a pessimist, I said the world is in, and you not everyone. Yeah. Spiritually, we're not long this world. So, they say you're young, it not even want to change the world. You get older, you want to change yourself. And so I try to focus on being the best version of yourself, to come full circle back to the kings and queens. There's really spiritual undertones in that. And so you kind of have to meet people where they are many times. Someone may be working on a business. So speaking about asset ownership, be their interest.
Yeah.
But if you take that bait and you say, oh man, this guy has some great information on entrepreneurship and investing and profit, all these other things, we'll follow those breadcrumbs. I feel it's going to lead you to some inner reflection, looking at yourself, some introspection. And these are the basic tools that lead to looking within. So anything that's going to bring someone to also look within, you use that kind of, you have to give your children some medicine. You maybe sweeten it with a little sugar to get them to take it. That's what really all these platforms I have ultimately are meant to bring people in to find themselves. That's what Know Thyself is about. That's what Warrior Krown is about. That's what the Golden Egg is about. Just bringing in people from paths and just finding out what resonates with them. So it's like in fishing, you throw a wide net.
Yeah.
And you capture and bring the fish in.
Yeah.
Different ways.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Same. I get that. I totally get that. I've kind of, as I stated, I've tried the relationship counseling or coaching because I spent years as a therapist before I did a pivot into education. And then I kind of started my own business and I wanted to do kind of things kind of my way. So And spirituality has always just been a huge part of who I am. It's part of my life path, you know. And so, but in doing so, there's been some trial and error, you know. I just found that, you know, working with couples was not quite my sweet spot. I've got some other sweet spots that I'm focused on right now. But I applaud anyone who can do that work, because that is not easy work to do. Working with couples is not easy. It is not working with just one personality. There are two, and depending on the individuals, there may be as many as 10. Because it just depends on.
Right. I know you're in education. I try my hand at the teaching. I enjoy sharing information with people. If I were to teach, it would probably have to be more on a college level. People that actually want to learn. Not everyone in college even wants to learn, but I have the ultimate respect for teachers. And when I was in the Navy, I actually went to college originally for health professions. That's how your husband, DC, and I met. 'Cause I went to Armstrong because they had the health professions field.
Yes.
I did 2 years of studying microbiology, the pathophysiology, all that stuff.
Okay.
My second year, I started doing my clinicals. The very first patient they gave me was an older man. He was blind and talk, totally dependent, total care, basically. And one is the most depressing thing I'd ever been exposed to. And then the healthcare system, you know, you got patients that all they do is ring the bell for medicine. And then you got patients, they're just ready to pass on and go. And that was very stressful for me. I was internalizing a lot of these things, and I learned you kind of have to arm's length between yourself and these patients, because not everyone's going to live. Some people are going to pass, but that wasn't the path for me. And I had to find it out after 2 years of schooling to realize that, I can't simply be doing this for a career. So you went through your experience, you found out, okay, this isn't for me. I've gone through the same thing. But even with the marital counseling, with life coaching, you're going to give people what you can give them. Right. They're going to decide how much of that they can, you know, ingest and marinate.
Exactly. For sure.
Digest. It's got to be separate from expectations and results.
Yes.
Look at it from that approach, like, oh, I got to save this marriage, you know, that's no one has that power to do that.
Oh yeah, we definitely, and we coaches, therapists, counselors, we definitely don't have that power. That is all up to the individuals, and they all come with a different set of, you know, concerns, if you will. That sometimes it's just going to take a lot of work. They got to do the legwork, you know, and that even goes for the individuals that we work with. You have to be willing to do the work.
That's it. You know, a marriage is only going to be as good as the two individuals involved.
That's it.
Again, I say everything comes back to spiritual awareness.
Yes.
You cannot look in the mirror and see, what am I contributing to the dysfunction, miscommunication in this? You're not going to have a healthy relationship. And a lot of times people just want to point the finger at the other person and not take ownership and say, okay, even if I felt that was a situation, what could I have done differently to bring about a different experience or a different outcome? And most people don't. They wanted the world around them to change themselves.
That's it. And that is it, and that is all. You know, since we're talking about audiences, I have another clip that I would love to share right now. I got another one. Yes, I do. I've got plenty of them, but I'm not going to show them all tonight. But I'm going to add this one, and it talks about, this is something that you were expressing about audiences. So I want to share this with our viewers.
Stop wasting your life working a job you hate just to afford a coffin slightly nicer than your neighbor's. Look, social media has flipped the game. People are literally making six figures reviewing chicken nuggets, unboxing socks, or yelling at video games. And you? Well, you're sitting there doubting whether anyone cares about your passion. Newsflash, they actually do. Social media is the Wild West where personality prints money. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be you. Loudly, unapologetically, ridiculously you. Love fashion? Film it. Love fitness? Flex it. Love conspiracy theories about why pigeons are government spies? Well, somebody's already watching. Every scroll is a chance for you to turn obsession into income. So stop treating your dream like a side hustle. Treat it like the main event, because the only thing dumber than failing is never trying at all. And oh yeah, by the way, we're Krown.
So good, just so good.
Just so good. Get back on track.
Had you forgotten about that one too?
There's a lot of my place at times, and I'm like, I got to get a little better at structuring my day, or at least my week, to try, keep generating some good content.
These are really great. I mean, such good nuggets of wisdom that you have been dropping for people. And I've got running across the bottom of the screen right now. If anyone is ever interested in booking Lateef, he is at https://www.onassiscrown.com. Now I know I saw that you do speaking engagements. Is that still on the menu? I want to double check, because I don't want to put you out there and then you start getting phone calls and you're like, Yolanda, you what did you do? And I'm like, I didn't know. So just to double check, speaking engagements, yes?
Yes, I still do speaking engagements.
Perfect.
Calendar permitting. I'll put that caveat on there.
Okay, calendar. So let us issue this disclaimer, viewers. Calendar permitting, Mr. Warnick is available for those engagements. You can also visit the site for his books. And are we still able to book with you for coaching or counseling as well?
Yeah, all those services, products on the website.
Okay.
I try to make it as easy to navigate as possible. But there's a little, one of those hamburger menus, top right corner. So you click on that, you get a large drop down. And I try to organize it based on, whatever services or products, you might be seeking. So emails on there. So if you have questions, concerns, feel free to email, shoot a little message. Myself or someone will get back to you.
Yes. As you can see, he is available on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter. I did not pick up the TikTok address because it wasn't listed on the site, but then I did notice that you're also on TikTok later on. So Onassis Krown over on TikTok as well, if you're one of the TikTokers and you prefer that platform. So however you would like to access this gentleman and any of his offerings, you have full range and full availability to do so. Lateef, I told you, this is the quickest hour in show business. This thing goes by so quickly. I feel like we were just getting warmed up and it is already 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you coming on, brother, because I know that you probably have 1,000,001 other things to do, but you thought it not robbery to come and hang out with your girl. So I just appreciate you and your time and your family for availing you to me for an hour, because I'm sure they're looking for you right now saying, well, when is it? Where is he at? Because he said an hour and the hour is up.
My son did peek in the door for a minute. I tried to tell you in there.
Oh, I'm sure someone has already peeped in the door. I'm sure of that. I did want to just go through just a few quotes really quickly before we disconnect, because these were just too good not to share. Where you said, by the time people realize your worth, you'll be worth more. I love it. I love every bit of that. And that is like the story of my life. I put this up earlier, but as you said, either you go for the life you want or you settle for the life you get. Abundance shines through a mind that is aware of its own infinite nature. That kind of ties into this. He who blames others has a long way to go. He who blames himself is halfway there. He who blames no one has arrived. And that is when you find true abundance, is when you stop placing blame and you choose to do the work for yourself. Yes, I'm sure you agree, because
Amen.
these are your words, sir. These are your words, sir. Be happy
Talk
in the
to him
moment.
slow.
That's it, sir. Be happy in the moment. That's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more. It's about being present, folks. That's what we got to do. We got to be present, got to be in the moment. And last but not least, don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Just keep going. That's all y'all got to do. Listen, I had to pull them out, man. You got so many nuggets of wisdom. I myself am going to be picking up a copy of, if not one or two, all of your books, because I know that I am going to be abundantly blessed by all of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that you have placed inside of each one of them. I hope I can convince you to come back and see me again.
Absolutely. Just let me know. I love to come back. I can do this. You know, they say when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I truly
Amen.
take that to heart.
Amen. Amen.
I learned over the years that things could be hobbies, or things could be just things you enjoy doing. It's not always about money, but if you enjoy what you're doing, if it's beneficial to the world, if it's helping others, then that just, is the icing on the cake. I'm going to get my podcast cranked back up as well. So I would love to bring you on as a guest when the time is right. But yeah, anytime, reach me now, and we'll make some good things happen.
All right, sir. Well, again, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being the embodiment of hashtag what woke looks like. Stay woke, sir, because we need you. God knows we do. I'm going to close out with a word from our sponsor. We will see everyone next week. Same bad time, same bad channel here on YouTube. Don't forget to check out Onassis Krown. Y'all, and order some clothes too. Let me tell y'all something. I was on there and I was like, you're not about to start shopping because you already done put yourself on restriction. But as soon as I'm off restriction, I think I saw a Delta cap.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Thank you again. You know I gotta get it. But yeah. I think I saw some Omega Sci-Fi things too, but we won't get into that tonight. Okay.
A little bit. Trying to do
just a little bit. Just not a lot, but just a little bit. I love it. All right. Here's a word from our sponsor, the Female Solution, and we'll look forward to seeing one back next week. Thank you all for coming in and spending time with us this evening. Good night.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.